Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. I am jacked up on my ADD meds and, of course, Zoa, which should be sponsoring this show. As much Zoa as I drink, a sugar-free energy drink. Imagine that. Who does sponsor this show? Mazda of Columbia. Go and get yourself a car, MazdaofColumbia.com. Listen to the Mazda of Columbia podcast. If you want to find out how, the government is screwing you over when it comes to getting a new car and how they're basically pushing off electric vehicles onto you, we talk about that in addition to other things too. But today we're going to talk about several things, including what's going to happen with Mike Tyson after he knocks somebody out on the JetBlue plane. First of all, why the hell is Mike Tyson flying JetBlue? I don't understand that, but anyway, there's parts of that. Also, we'll get into the ACC's talking about eliminating football divisions as early as 2023. New odds are out for Clemson winning the ACC title. We'll also get into I think I've got some stuff where I did some looking on the Georgia defense for this coming season. How far will they step back? Will it be enough that they may have to depend on Stetson Bennett to carry them a little bit? We may get into that later on. Also, in the mix today, the NCAA announces further guidance with improper behaviors in NIL deals. I mean, this is like wearing a condom when you've already gotten your girlfriend pregnant. I think that's the best way to put it. I mean, when it really, really comes down to it, is that they should have done this a year ago. What in the world is the NCAA doing where they think they can be on a delay forever? All this stuff is done now. It's insane. I'm going to read you some of what they said today, or what they said in their release. Today, the Division I Board of Directors took a significant first step to address some of the challenges and improper behaviors that exist in the NIL environment that may violate our long-established recruiting rules. While the NCAA may pursue the most outrageous violations that were clearly contrary to the interim policy adopted last summer, our focus is on the future. The new guidelines establish a common set of expectations for the Division I institutions moving forward, and the board expects all Division I institutions to follow our recruiting rules and operate within these reasonable expectations, said board chair Jeer Moorhead, the president of the University of Georgia. So they're basically saying, yeah, you should follow this now, even though you've already been doing the stuff before. It's a mess. This comes from The Athletic. They talk about what a booster is. Recruiting conversations between an individual or entity that has triggered booster status and a prospect are not permissible. Really? So that's already happened. You think that didn't happen with Texas A&M? Are they going to go and hold Texas A&M's feet to the fire? Are they going to go and pop? Well, they've still got to pop Tennessee for, $5,000 Big Macs, $25,000 kids meals. They're still waiting to do that. But the reality is that when it comes down to it, the NCAA wants to appear like they're the big dog on the block, when in reality, they're not. Some of the other stuff that comes with the NIL rule: boosters, NIL entity may not communicate with a prospect, prospect's family, or others affiliated with a prospect for a recruiting purpose or to encourage the student's enrollment at a particular school. So you can't talk to someone saying, hey, if you come to Tennessee, Clemson, whatever, this is what you're going to get. College coaches and staff may not organize, facilitate, or arrange a meeting between a booster and NIL entity and a prospect, meaning that what Jimbo Fisher said they were doing is work. Yeah, you can't do that anymore, Jimbo. That's not working. And you know what? I hope that it comes back down because they can't find these folks, and they can't. I don't think they can go back, and they'll end up fighting it in court. But wouldn't it be great if the NCAA wasn't toothless? Wouldn't it be great if they went and they slapped Tennessee back to the Stone Ages for what they did? And the other people that have done stupid things too. We can do North Carolina. We could talk about, I don't know. There's several other places that have done insanely amounts of stupidity and gotten caught. But the reality is the NCAA, they're toothless and they can't do anything anyway. They can't. So these guidelines that are coming out today, I guess they're going to, and as they said, they're looking towards the future. Now, that means the stuff that happened in the past with Texas A&M allegedly having, $30 million to put into that recruiting class, where they got the best recruiting class in 247 sports history. Yeah. In reality, yes, you got that class, but according to the new NIL rules, you cheated. Sorry if that hurt your feelings. According to the new rules, you cheated. Now, I know that the folks that run around and they're going to talk about, well, we were going by the rules that were there. Yeah, but by the rules that are there now, you cheated. So in my mind, if Texas A&M does anything with that class, it's not valid. They cheated to get it. Simple as that. Same thing goes for anybody else who uses some crazy NIL tactics to get folks to come to their university. Nope, it's not what you're supposed to do. If you want to respond, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Pegan Megan says, Rob is getting nervous about Jimbo holding up that trophy this year. You sure talk about him a lot. Well, he is one of the biggest cheaters as far as NIL goes. So we are talking about NIL. I know that's hard for you to keep focused on, but since he made some of the stupid comments that he made, thinking that none of this was going to happen and come back and bite him, stuff like this.
The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If we don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you may go somewhere now because you're going to have to go back to the old ways of doing it with the $500 handshakes and everything else. But with the, we're going to put $30 million into a recruiting class, that's not going to work anymore. It's not. It's not supposed to work that way. The NCAA needs to get someone, who I think should run the NCAA? They should actually give it to someone who doesn't care. What I mean by that is that what these schools think. Oh, you're going to sue us, North Carolina? Good, sue us. We're going to sanction you until then. Have a nice day. That's how things should work. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Daniel.
Hi.
I hear you talking, or I hear you complaining about NIL. Let's be honest. You're pissed because Dabo didn't do anything with NIL. Now
Actually,
Clemson's on the fucking down.
Hold on. I'm not going to let you just run your mouth and be stupid today. This is my show. First of all, I'll let you speak in a second. This has nothing to do with Clemson. This is NIL across the board. If you think NIL is this most outstanding thing, then that's fine. It has nothing to do with Clemson. It has to do with the fact that NIL has set college football up where it is a slippery slope, and I'm not the only one that thinks that way. The president of the University of Georgia thinks that way, and several other people think that way. All right, so do you have something viable to say, or are you just going to spew nonsense? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is there something viable to say? Or, yeah, is
I'm
it
going to
nonsense?
continue my point.
What's your point?
The point is, and here's what happened. The SEC commissioner, well, no, let me go back. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart whined and bit to the SEC commissioner until the SEC commissioner went to the NCAA and wanted stuff put in place for NIL.
So are you hold on. Let me, I'm just, a direct question. Are you blaming this on Nick Saban and Kirby Smart?
Of 100%. They
So
whined
you
and cried until they
you
got their
think
way.
you think it's just them because Lane Kiffin
Oh,
has
I'm
been
sure
out.
Dabo.
No, sir.
I'm sure Dabo did too.
Dabo didn't go and blame to anyone, but there are several people that have said several things about the NIL. It's not just Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. It's not.
Yeah. Well, do you think the SEC commissioner gave a crap about what some Joe Blow said? But once it's his two big dogs in his conference, he cowered down and went and did what they said.
Hold on. The college football is one of the biggest revenue draws in the country. If someone comes to you and says the integrity of the game is being questioned and it's going to affect not only just X and Y school here, but in what ends up being the bottom line, you should probably listen to that. And you know what? We goof a lot on this show, but if someone that is a respected national championship coach like Nick Saban or like Kirby Smart comes to you and says this isn't working and it's going to hurt college football in the end, I think you should listen to that.
The integrity of the game. Do you hear you're talking about? Two
Yes.
coaches who's been paying players illegally for years.
Sir, respectfully, we can talk about, hey, this coach is paid here and paid there. Have they been sanctioned by the NCAA for paying anyone?
Well,
No. Answer the question, sir. Have they been sanctioned by the NCAA for paying anyone? It's very simple.
Yeah, no.
No. Okay, then they haven't paid anyone. That's just the way that it works. Sorry.
So,
I mean, we could sit here and talk about
and
Nick Saban has people washing cars and he gives them money from his car lot. We've heard all of that stuff. New spring up at Clemson, giving everybody the tithes from the church. We've heard all of that. But the reality is until you get caught, until you have what happened at SMU with the Pony Express and all that, that's just the way that it is. You don't have anything.
Well, my personal belief is it's going to stay the same. They bitched and whined until they got their way.
Sure.
Now they get their way. What they were afraid of is teams are going to close the gap on them. That's what it comes down to.
Which teams do you think are going to close the gaps? Which teams do you think they're afraid
of? Texas. I'm not. By the way, I'm a Tennessee fan. So
sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, what teams
Texas
do you think are complaining that they can't close the gap? Because as far as funding
Tennessee,
goes,
my team.
Well, Tennessee, man, you guys have great facilities. I mean, you have a devoted fan base. I don't know what keeps. And Tennessee's been there before, but if you were talking about, say, Mizzou, I might be able to entertain that. But Tennessee's won a national title. Tennessee's been at the top of the mountain. So, I mean, the downfall of Tennessee started when you can make an argument when they got rid of Phil Fulmer and everything went downhill from there. Tennessee's biggest problem has been themselves. It hasn't really been Alabama or whoever else. They've shot themselves in the foot.
I just think this whole, now that the NCAA has made this ruling, it's going to go to court. It's going to be a bigger mess than they ever thought it was before.
Well, you know what? You and I agree on that. I think that it'll come down to the old adage that may end up being what I call the show today: touch me and I'll sue. That's pretty much where we are right now. And it's going to come down to lawyers, and that's not good.
Right. The NCAA doesn't even have a leader, for God's sake. What are they going to do?
They're a toothless organization. We agree upon that, sir.
Exactly. But anyways, thanks, Rob, for taking my call.
Appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too.
Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Rob, sir, how are you?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. First of all, I've got to disagree with something your last caller just said. With or without NIL, with the coaching hires that have been done, East Coast, West Coast, Texas, you're going to see the landscape of college football shift anyway.
Right.
And that's just how college football works. You know, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when nobody was talking about Alabama. Everybody was complaining on Nebraska being on top forever.
Yeah. I mean, and I can remember the days when Florida was on top. With Steve Spurrier and the offense that he ran down there. And I mean, I think college football is it has cycles. I mean, people seem to forget when Alabama had Derek Lassick as their running back and they weren't really that good. Now it's Alabama's the cream of the crop, the best thing ever. But we can remember the days when Alabama didn't really have the best team that was out there.
Yeah, I disagree with that because I can look at it. College football does go in cycles.
It does.
So I don't think anybody's is going and complaining about NIL because it's going to affect them, because Alabama's time is running out regardless. From the time their run started, you're on a clock.
But isn't that with any team, though? It's not just Alabama. I mean, it's with any team. Once you're at the top, you've got everybody and their brother trying to take their best shot to knock you down. So, yeah, it's not just Alabama, because the Alabama fans will be like, whatever, we invented football. Shut up. I can hear it from them now. So, but yeah.
I mean, that's why I haven't been that heartbroken over the last 15 years being a Miami fan, because it's just their turn.
Yeah, but you can say from experience too that Miami had their run where they were at the top of the world, and now they're trying to scrap to get back up there. And And
speaking of not getting caught doing anything, I love how Miami has a reputation for being such a dirty program, but they've literally never been caught doing anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd have to completely research to see where they're at, but I do have a headline from something down in Miami where it was a headline from, I think it was the Miami Herald, where shots fired at Miami practice, players return fire. I actually have that headline somewhere saved, which is pretty funny. At practice with a gun, somebody shot at them and some player shot back. Of course, this is like 20 years ago, but pretty funny.
Well,
I mean, it's a pretty funny but sad headline at the same time.
It is, but I don't think anybody would disagree that Miami, Florida, and Tuscaloosa, Alabama are two very, very different places.
I can agree with you on that. And if I'm in Miami, there may be a gun in my possession. Let's leave it at that.
Now, as far as these changes to the NIL, I mean, me personally, I was against it from the beginning, because sure. I can kind of see where this is leading. You know, what Kirby and Saban are talking about, and seeing that, you know, basically the college football game that we all know and love now. I mean, some things like NIL, in my opinion, are going to lead to the downfall of college football.
Well, you know, I think that if they would have regulated it correctly, and if they would have set it up where, look, I don't think that I think the idea of, look, if we sell your jersey, they should get a piece of that. I completely understand that. They should be able they should be able to run a YouTube channel where, I don't know, a kicker can put kicker videos out, and then people go to that, and then YouTube pays them. They should be able to have summer camps in the fall with guys like Levon Kirkland, and he could put it together for them and give them a couple $100 for going out there and running drills with kids. Things like that, I have no problem with. But, hey, we're going to give you $100,000 to talk about our chicken. It's a little over the edge there, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, that even goes for, you know, the ones that Miami has set up. I know that quarterback Tyler Van Dyke, he's got a BMW loaned to him until he leaves.
Yeah. Well, and there was the story about, what was it, the Safe Wallet folks that are down there. I think that's the name of the one big Miami
Life Wallet.
Thank you. Yeah, he's like, yeah, we paid $800,000 for this basketball player to stay here. I had no clue who that basketball player was, and I follow ACC hoops. I have no clue who this guy is, but they paid him a lot of money to stay there. A lot of money.
Another perfect example of that is that West Virginia transfer wide receiver. Nobody knew of this guy until USC, you know, threw half the bank at him.
That's true. I think we've gone overboard with the NIL, and they got to try to regulate it. But once again, you can go back to the North Carolina model where they were giving away degrees out of a drive-through window up there, and it's basically touch me and I'll sue. They didn't want anything to do with it, and it's sad. but that's just the way that it is now.
It is, and I think more than anything, the one thing that we can change as fans, we always end up blaming the players. We always end up blaming the coaches.
Right.
I think a lot more of this ends up falling on boosters. The coaches come and go, players come and go. Those are the people that are there all the time that stuff going.
The boosters, yeah, but here's my thing though on that. I don't have a problem with a booster that's like, you know what? I appreciate what the football program does. I want to help them with a new weight room. Here's $100,000. Name the weight room after my kid. Or I want to go and sponsor the women's tennis team because I want them to be able to have nice equipment when they go somewhere. I don't have a problem with that. That end of it, I don't have any issue with. But the idea of, hey, you should come here and I'll give you, $100,000 if you do, simply because maybe the coaches don't have the recruiting ability on just the program alone. Maybe they need that extra sweetener to get them there. I don't know. But I think boosters are put into a point where they think they're more important than they actually are, because I think there's a lot of spineless athletic directors out there too that are scared that they won't get that $100,000 from somebody else. So they're willing to let these boosters just run all over them. But yeah,
I think it may even go above athletic directors, because look at was it Florida State hired the booster to be the athletic director?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to research that, but it's
that
was
mess. Crazy.
It's a mess. I mean, it really is a mess.
Oh yeah.
All right, buddy. I got to go to a break. I appreciate it though.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
All right, there you go. Quick break. We come back. We'll have more of the rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Actually, I don't care about what Jimbo Fisher does, simply because of the fact that, yeah, he won a national title, but he won it at Florida State where they actually have a valid football program, and he did it with a rapist quarterback. I don't think he has a rapist quarterback on the roster. Maybe Georgia can send him one of theirs. I mean, they did lead the conference in raping last season. Surely one of your quarterbacks has a history of rape, right? Maybe. Who knows? But Jimbo Fisher can't develop talent at Texas A&M. They have top 5 rosters and they go 8-4. You know what? You want to know what he can do? If he wants to get back in the good graces of me, here's what he can do. Beat Mississippi State this year, because he's 500 against the Pirate, and the Pirate doesn't know what planet he's on. But you know what? He knows that 50% of the time he goes out there, and Jimbo Fisher with all that money, and he's going to get a win against him 50% of the time. Jay, you should get on that propofol that Michael Jackson was on. Make sure you take enough of it. One stupid pill a day will do. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Aaron has a good point. Coaches aren't paid to care about the sport as a whole. I'm going to read that when we come back because I think that's great. Jay, if you don't like the stuff that I say, you can go and, I don't know, go back to watching, I don't know, guys cutting their grass or whatever. Jay's YouTube search is, his search history is people cutting grass, how to iron your clothes, and I don't know, probably something else that's silly. There are people that like get tons and tons of hits because they'll mow their grass and like people watch them cut their grass. What the hell are people watching people cut grass for? Are you standing by that, Papa B? My goodness. I don't think he knows where he is. Elijah says how to put on your helmet. He owns that Jimbo Fisher ass. We know that. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I give credit to the folks in the chat room. There are some people that are ignorant, and then there are some people that have some bright stuff to say, like Aaron. Aaron says coaches aren't paid to care about a sport as a whole. They want what's best for their program and themselves, and will form their opinions accordingly. Very good, sir. Very good. You know, I remember reading I think Bobby Knight's book, and I read a book about Pat Summitt at Tennessee, and there was talk about them and how the rules were very important to them. But I think that's like a dying breed of coaches. I really believe that. Tom says, I think NIL is hurting college sports. I like watching them more before NIL. But you know what? Here's the thing. The NIL is still going to be out there. The NCAA can't do anything about it. And you know what? People are still going to watch. And the TV money is still going to be stupid. And I am holding in my hand right now my cell phone. Why? Because that's going to be, we're already kind of there anyway. But now people are going to get to a point where it's all about what they can watch on their cell phone. And they can pull it up anywhere. We are a microwave society, ladies and gentlemen. We want it right now. We want it yesterday. And the idea of, look, I can be out and about and I can watch this game wherever I'm at. That's what people want. And to get that, it's going to cost you money. Just the way that it is. Elijah says Tennessee's NIL is currently knocking it out of the park. I think Saban and Kirby are threatened by that down the road. Look, I don't think that I think that the biggest problem is the transfer portal and the fact that, hey, you can get developed at, say, a lower level school and then end up going to Alabama, and they get you there based on the fact they can give you more NIL money. Maybe that's what the NCAA is trying to get themselves squared away to a point where they don't have all of that coming at them at once. But then again, I don't know. Papa B says you can watch a lot of games on YouTube. There you go. And the captain says Saban isn't scared of Tennessee. Yeah, I don't think that Nick Saban wakes up in the morning and thinks, you know what? I'm scared of that Tennessee team. Jeffrey with a great comment. He is an LSU apologist, but this makes sense. The biggest joke of all is that the NIL is not supposed to be used as a recruiting tool. What a joke. Very good, sir. Very good. Thank you for tuning into the show today, Jeff. Jay says college streams are more available than the pros. Yeah. And you can find certain stuff, but I get that. But the reality is it's going to come back to people want to watch these things, and they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it. Baylor Man says NIL is where the rich always get richer. Yeah, I can understand that too. But the TV revenue is going to be a big part of it too. And it's all, once again, you know, we've heard the phrase follow the money. That's kind of where we are. Follow the money. Follow the money. And you're going to eventually see the programs that are really good are going to have a ton of money behind them. It's just kind of the way it is. All right, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. Show Memo says Life Wallet was smart. They sponsor other kids at different programs. Mm-hmm. And Elijah said he was talking about the current team. He said down the road, due to what NIL is currently doing for Tennessee, I wonder if they're going to hamper some of that. We shall see. And by the way, how do they enforce any of this? This stuff where you can't talk to this person and all that. How do they enforce any of that? Seriously, with what they're talking about. I mean, they really can't. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. They will target a team like Mizzou or insert. I mean, they're not going to go after a blue blood. They're going to go against a university that's like, you know what? We're not going to sue. They're not going to go after a North Carolina. They're not going to go after an Alabama, a Georgia, an LSU. No, it's going to be like Mizzou. Or if it was Vanderbilt, they would hammer Vanderbilt. Seriously. Virginia, a team like that. That's what they would do. Who agrees with that comment? Chat room is on fire today. Jeffrey with another comment. The only difference between the cheating that has gone on in the past and what is happening today is the bagmen. Now they're wearing suits and have law degrees. Jeffrey's a smart guy. Good stuff there. JetMex says before it was boosters giving money under the table. Now it's boosters / lawyers going above the table and writing it off as advertising expenses. That way they don't have to pay taxes on it. I added that at the end there for JetMex. Yeah, that's kind of how that comes about. Look, there's a couple other things that I forgot to mention. NIL agreements must be based on an independent case-by-case analysis of the value that each athlete brings to an NIL agreement as opposed to providing compensation or incentives for enrollment decisions, athletic performance achievement, or membership on a team. Also, an NIL agreement between an athlete and a booster NIL entity may not be guaranteed or promised contingent on initial or continuing enrollment at a particular school. So basically what they're saying is like the stuff that was going on at BYU, where if you go to BYU, they have like a big protein supplement company there that basically everybody's on scholarship. So you can't, I guess that's not going to work anymore. Who knows? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app as we discuss the new stuff with the NIL and how that has come about. I don't know how they're going to enforce it. And here's the thing, too. Since we're in like uncharted waters here, let's just say that the NCAA was able to pin down some folks and they can determine, all right, you violated the rules. What is a good penalty for this? I mean, do you take recruiting visits away? Do you take away wins? Do you set it up where, I mean, I don't know. That's the thing too. That didn't really come out with that either. Jetmech with something that's a very valid point. Can NIL fix the Vols gimmick offense? That's a good point. I don't think, it is a gimmick, but I don't know if it's fixable. We'll see. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Peg and Megan loves him some Jimbo Fisher, but Elijah has a great point. Jimbo has the same record as Kevin Sumlin at A&M. So, yeah. I guess they like Kevin Sumlin. I wonder if Peg and Megan likes Kevin Sumlin, too. He's got the same record there. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That's the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. We're talking about Mike Tyson and what charges he may or may not be facing in a little bit. Vegas odds are out on Clemson as winning the ACC title. BetOnline released those odds as Clemson on top with 2-3 odds, followed by, and here's the interesting thing, the teams that are right behind them, Miami, Pitt, and North Carolina State, followed by North Carolina, Wake Forest, Florida State, Virginia, Boston College, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, the Qs, and Duke. Not a lot of respect there for the folks at Wake Forest, who are should have a heck of a football team. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. It's another dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. We've also got talk of one other note that came out yesterday that I didn't get to was the ACC's talking about getting rid of the Atlantic and Coastal divisions. One team having Pete Thamel reported there are two potential modes the ACC could go with. One is teams having 3 permanent opponents and rotating 5 more on and off the schedule every other year. The other one reported is having only 2 permanent opponents and rotating 6 teams on and off the schedule every other year, which would send each ACC team through a team's campus over 4 years. That's probably what they'll end up doing. I'm fascinated with how they're going to set up a lot of these schedules, and with if they're going to take away divisions, that's going to be interesting because you may end up losing some of the rivalry matchups that you have. I think that with the way the Big 12 is being set up and the new teams that are coming there, that's going to be interesting too. And we can talk a little bit about the SEC and their scheduling and how maybe they'll go away from the SEC East and the SEC West. That might make sense too. We'll have to see on that. That's going to be interesting. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Billy's upset that I still think Tennessee's offense is a gimmick offense. He says, but wait until a D coordinator figures it out. Tell me about the national championships that Josh Heupel has won with his offense. I'll wait. Tell me about the SEC championship game that he was in with that offense. I'll wait. Tell me about the win he got over Purdue with that offense. Oh, he didn't get one. That's right. That's right. They were scoring a lot. We'll give them that. Their defense was wore out. We know that. Or maybe they just weren't that good. Either way, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Show Mimo says, who would have guessed that Mizzou has the fourth best quarterback in the 2023 class from Washington? We're now recruiting the Pack as well. Interesting. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. The real MVP says Tennessee couldn't even beat Florida with that offense. Oof. I'll tell you what, the rundown's going to be hot and heavy once football season gets here. I mean, I'm sure Billy is going to be calling me on every Monday with Reaction Monday and telling me, are you aware the Tennessee offense scored 40 points yesterday on Saturday? Yeah, they did. Yeah, they won 40-39. Congratulations. That's going to be the calls that we're going to have over the football season. We're really going to have that. It's going to be fun. Really, really looking forward to the football season that's coming up, and some of the characters we'll have that will crawl out of the woodworks as we roll along. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And we come back, we'll talk a little bit about, I've got the Mike Tyson story that I want to get to, and a couple of other things that we'll get into this afternoon on the rundown. We're always taking your calls, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. If you would like to join us here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400, my buddy Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next. He is the czar of Clemson sports. Clemson baseball tonight. They're playing here at Seger Park in Columbia against the College of Charleston. Clemson has went from, hey, they're not going to make the tournament, to one of the hottest teams in college baseball right now. We'll see. We'll see how that works out for them, as they're playing a College of Charleston team that's projected to be in the NCAA tournament. All right, quick break and we come back. We'll have more for you here on the rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Tennessee doesn't live in my head. I just like picking at you. Kentucky has a projected, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about there. Projected number one overall pick. Are we talking about basketball? I don't know what you're talking about there. Atlanta ATL DJ Baby Boy. Yep, that was my big thing. Why is Mike Tyson flying JetBlue? That's kind of. You imagine getting on a plane and Mike Tyson sitting there next to you? I'm going to go ahead and put this out there now. He will not be the number one quarterback next year. Anybody else want to bet him with me on that? Anybody else want to go out there? I mean, did CBS Sports put that actually out, or was that just someone running their trap? Look, the South Carolina baseball team, they're in a spot right now where they may not make the SEC tournament. They are a gong show. Yeah, all of that, and you still weren't worth a damn. Purdue just scored again. Congratulations. Congratulations. You want to talk about, what Allen said is correct. You can be about numbers all you want, but it comes down to wins. And, you kind of had issues with Purdue. Just saying. Yeah, I got something special for you, Billy. I whipped up something special just for you. You and that gimmick offense. I will air it on Wednesday night on the Rob and Kale podcast. Please make sure you check that out. Check that out. Would love for you to check that out. Yes. Comment of the day right there. Boom. Eight zero 803-978-1832. That's the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. Someone said CBS Sports has Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky, as the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. I'm going to put this on my bookcase of accountability now. It's not happening. Not happening. He's not going to be the number 1 overall pick. Sorry. I mean, people need to remember, maybe they've forgotten over there. Bryce Young will be in next year's draft. Will Anderson will be in next year's draft. I'll take them over Will Levis all day today, twice on Sunday. You want to compete with that? Who's he going to throw the ball to at Kentucky? Seriously. That doesn't make any sense. A couple of other comments. We were talking about Tennessee and their gimmick offense. And Billy says they're ranked 9th in total offense. That's awesome. But ATL DJ Baby Boy says all those yards from the 20 to the 20. Good point, sir. Good point. Let's go out to the phones. 803-978-1832.
Web listing
Whoa,
pros.
what is that? Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon. Hello. All right. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Rick says Levis will throw it to himself. Okay. I like that. That's funny. All right. A couple other comments we'll get into in a moment. I wanted to get one other thing out here. Mike Tyson. Remember, we had the story up on the blog page where he just beat someone senseless on an airplane. But according to TMZ Sports, he will not be charged for his trip on the JetBlue, as far as no charges will be filed as he beat down another passenger last month. He had been facing the possibility of multiple criminal charges after he punched a man in the face. After the passenger allegedly threw a water bottle at him, the passenger's attorney, Matt Morgan, claims no water bottle was thrown and his client was just overly excited. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Really? Really? The San Mateo County District Attorney told TMC Monday that due to the conduct of the victim leading up to the incident, the interaction between Mr. Tyson and the victim, as well as the request of both the victim and Mr. Tyson, no charges will be filed against Tyson. So let me make sure that I get this right. If you go and you watch that video, which it's up on the blog page, you can see that. It's on foxsportsradio1400.com. Mike Tyson knocked a guy senseless. And basically, yeah, that's not gonna be any charges. Papa B wants to know if I can answer his question. I don't know what his question was. Oh, he says, is the ACC getting rid of divisions in 2023? And a tip to bring Notre Dame football on board. I don't know the whole specifics of the Notre Dame contract, but I do think that we're going to get to a point where I don't think that as many people care about Notre Dame football as they did back in the day, where they had to see every Notre Dame game in prime time on NBC. I don't think that's that important to them. I really don't. So I think that Notre Dame will eventually enter a conference, but I hope that it's the Big Ten, just because geographically that's the way that it works. Rick says, where are these blogs that you speak of? foxsportsradio1400.com. Just click the on-air button and you'll see my name up there. I know it might be tough for some folks, but it's right there for you. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. He did say he was in an airplane. They have airplane rules. Well, you want to go and try to levy those on Mike Tyson? I don't think that's going to work. David says he heard that Calvin Ridley placed a bet on Stetson Bennett winning the Heisman. Okay. That's kind of funny. Papa B says Clemson versus Notre Dame on NBC is a bye. Yeah, but do you want to see Notre Dame playing, I don't know, the Naval Academy? I mean, do you really want to see that? No, not really. Notre Dame, Southern Cal, I can understand that. Notre Dame, Clemson. But last year they had Notre Dame, Duke. Do you want to watch Notre Dame play Duke? Really? I don't think so. I think that NBC knows that they could probably get something a little bit better than what Notre Dame can bring to them as far as volume of listeners. We shall see. David says Tyson shouldn't face charges. Wear that beat down like a badge of honor. You got punched in the face by a legend. I guess I can buy into that. Hey, check out my jaw. It's fractured. It's fractured because, I threw a water bottle at Mike Tyson and he didn't appreciate it. He beat me senseless. Yeah, that's what happened. I took those punches like a man, though. I was hammered. I didn't feel any of it. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Another comment. That guy should have been Rick that Tyson pimp slapped under the seat. Yeah. Tyson didn't have his cannabis. Mike Tyson's really big on having his own. I heard that Ric Flair bought into it with him. So, I mean, you talk about some endorsement power there. If Mike Tyson says it keeps him from killing everybody and Ric Flair's running around talking about it, maybe it's pretty good. Who knows? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Tomorrow on the rundown, we'll look at some baseball stuff. The NBA playoffs tonight. If you haven't been watching, there's been some people that are upset. And they're talking about codes being broken and guys taking shots at each other. There were some plays last night in the Golden State game that were just over the top. Over the top. Guys just pushing each other in midair. It's pretty fun basketball to watch right now. The refs are trying to keep it under control, and they're failing miserably. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Billy says, does Clemson name their quarterback? Yeah, Uyunglele is their quarterback, according to the end of the spring, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, that's their quarterback. 803-978-1832. As we roll along here on the rundown, got some guests we're working on coming up here with college baseball. We're going to have on a gentleman from the Baseball America to talk about their projections for the baseball tournament and who's going to be in the mix. Is it Tennessee? Are they running away with it? Or is Tennessee's offense, or is the Tennessee baseball team, are they like a gimmick like their offense over there with football? I mean, Kentucky did take 2 of 3 from them. The Wildcats, I think, gave them the Sunday game. Tennessee's been dominant, though, on the baseball field. That guy throwing the ball 105 miles an hour, you're just like, how do we deal with that? I wonder how long he's going to be able to throw 105 miles an hour. What a mess. All right, tomorrow on the rundown, we'll have more for you as always. Be sure to check out the podcast, foxsportsradio1400.com. However you get your favorite podcast. Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next. We'll be back at it tomorrow here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. All right. Appreciate you guys. Hey, you're the number one. What are you, the number one team in baseball right now? I just thought it was funny you lost 2 or 3 to Kentucky. Talk to you guys later on.